I've been working on quite a few things. You can kind of still see my rack back here. I have some things that I hate to be so vague about it, but at the same time, like I want, I don't know. I don't want to give away everything I'm working on. But I've talked about this before. I am working on converting, or I should say building a new rack-mounted PC that's going to go in here. That's going to be my new workstation in here that will run this stream too. It'll run a lot of stuff. It'll do a lot of my software development. Might do some of my video editing. I haven't decided yet. But I got a pretty sweet rack mount case, and actually I have an AOI. I don't want to give it all away, but I have an all-in-one cooler and a Sliger case to put it in. So I'm super stoked to do this. I just want to wait to see what this fall brings. I'm so close to the fall where new gear comes out. I want to wait. I don't want to build now and have something new come out that I could have, or get something that's existing for even cheaper. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I have a couple other things that are in the pipeline. A couple of utility things I'm working on. Yeah, I won't go into it. I have a lot of stuff. I should share my board publicly at some point if I want to, what I'm working on, but I won't, because you guys would be bored. So anyways, like I mentioned, if you have something you want to share, throw it in chat. Let's talk about it, and I'll start from the top and work my way down. So let's get into chat. Also, real quick, I mentioned that my chat, I kind of cleared part of it, so I'll read this out, and hopefully I get back to where we were. So, real quick, first in chat today was Jenna Ryan. Thank you so much. I was testing my chat to fix my on-screen display that I just cleared out, and he was acknowledging it. So thanks for being here. D4 D4YGLE, please sit. You just said sit. You didn't say please. I can't sit. I was sitting at first, and I was like, no, I got to stand. I mix it up. I like this. I like the energy when I stand, when I stream or have meetings. I was just kind of on I'd say a meeting. I hate to call it a meeting, but I was chatting with a few other YouTubers right before this. And so I was standing for that. So I was like, I'm going to keep this thing going. I gotta close my stand ring. So I'm going to stand. CBM Sandwich. Hey. How's it going? Rider Hood Jeff. Yo. What does Techno Tim have for us this week? Can't wait to find out. I can't wait to find out either, because I have 3 things in the pike, and the first thing I get done first is going out. So, but thank you, Zemich. Hello. How's it going? Populous Mocha. I like saying that. Techno Tim Friday, baby. It is TGIF Boulders Gate 3 all day. Man, Night Owl Brian must be nice. I've never played any game in the Baldur's Gate series. Looks pretty cool. I mean, I kind of understand what it's about. I love RPGs in general. I wish I could play RPGs. Maybe someday. Maybe someday, because they suck me in and I just go all in. That's why I can't even look at the new Zelda game, because if I even look at it, I'll think about buying it, and then I'll think about playing it, and then 2 weeks later, I'll still be playing it. So, but anyways, yeah, dude, have fun playing a game. For sure, man. For sure. I appreciate it. EDNZ Live. Hello there. How's it going? Let's see. I'm getting caught up. PC Geek, moving stuff around between servers today. Awesome, man. I feel your pain. So that's cool. I assume we talked about it a little bit. You're doing, I think, a TrueNAS core migration to a scale and moving some stuff around, and you got PBS, I think, in the mix, or a backup server that you're moving. Sounds awesome. Sounds fun. I've been doing something similar too lately. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I've been doing something similar, moving a lot of, I would say, moving all of my workloads off my 2 1U servers. I did it as a test, and now I'm continuing to do it. Dogfooding my own stuff, so I moved all workloads from 2 different 1U servers down to 2 different NUCs, and I've been exploring stuff with memory ballooning and KSM, which is pretty cool, shared memory for my VMs, and trying to get the most performance out of these 2 NUCs. Even though they're totally fine running these workloads, I'm trying to just doing a little bit of tweaks. So, but it's been fantastic so far. The test went so well that I ended up just keeping it there and migrating my second 1U server. I can't migrate my 3rd server there just because of the workloads I have in there, and it's also my TrueNAS, and it's my NAS, and it's a lot of other things, and it's just too much. And plus, I don't have the expandability or I/O to do it. But awesome PC Geek, glad you're doing that. Did I get caught up? Twisted Grim, no. Twisted Grim, yo, had a very productive week. Updated my hardware TrueNAS core box to 13. Upgraded all 3 of my Kate's hypervisors to Proxmox 8. Awesome. Set up and tuned KSM memory. We just talked about that. KSM memory ballooning on my VMs. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about in Discord last night too. Also on the Kate's side, set up Nginx Ingress and got Argo workflows working again for some testing. Whew, that is a lot. So doing some hardware migration, then doing some tuning on your hypervisor, and then doing some tuning inside of your Kubernetes cluster that's running on that hypervisor. I assume swapped out Nginx Ingress controller, probably from traffic, I assume, and then got Argo working. Yeah, that's quite the I don't know, the task. That is awesome. Congratulations. All right, am I back yet to where I accidentally cleared out chat? EDSN live. All right, let me see. Okay, as soon as I see DGD Gabobi, I'll bring the chat up on the screen. EDN. I'm just going with EDN. Oh God. Deploying OpenStack at home. Most of the config is done, but I hit my poll limit on Docker Hub yesterday, so I couldn't finish. Back to it tonight. Hopefully it works. Yeah, so the limits on Docker Hub, especially if you're anonymous, can get you. And I think they reset them hourly. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look again. But you have a quota for anonymous, and then you have a quota if you're not anonymous. You could try logging in. Yeah, I mean your quota gets extended. But yeah. Hey, dude. Let's see. Dude, sorry I missed this. Jar Drums. Dude, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate it 9 minutes ago. Thank you so much. And then Allstring has resub Prime 9 months. Dude, thank you so much. I got COVID, but silver lining, it means I can catch the stream Friday stream. Yeah, dude, sorry you got COVID. I heard it's going back around. It's kind of ticking up because of whatever. I heard it was due to the heat, and most of the time when that happens, people go inside, and so we're kind of having the same effect we have in the fall, but in the summer because it's so dang hot. But dude, hope you feel better. I appreciate it. I'm glad you made it, but not on these terms. So, all right, I'm hopping back here. We got a high roller over here. Goomba, yeah, for sure. Dude, thank you so much, Night Owl Brian. Populous Mocha. Am I there yet? I'm almost to where I cleared out chat. Current project planning is data. Currently running Nextcloud in a Docker VM. No dedicated storage to that service itself. I'm not a big data guy, but no, that's wrong. So I'm trying to come up with a better dedicated storage for that, a TrueNAS VM, and anything else I could do. Come up with also backups. Need tons of help. Did I mention? It's all on hardware RAID 5. Yeah. Yeah, which is okay. I mean, if that's all you got, then, you could, I mean, yeah. If you're going to TrueNAS, you get software RAID, you get ZFS, you get all the goodness. So, sounds like you're heading in the right direction. Dude, Alt F4 stream. Dude, thank you so much. Rated 89 viewers. Welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks again for the raid, man. Thanks for sharing the love. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here, too. All the people that are here from Alt F4 stream, how was it? How's it going? If you got something you're working on, something technical you want to share, some project you're working on, either at home or at work, preferably at home, unless it's you're not leaking company secrets. I'd love to know. So, yeah. Dude, thank you guys for the follows. Appreciate it. Oh, and also, I'm gonna also, if you're new here, I read off chat. I have this little utility that I kind of broke 2 seconds ago, but should be fixed up. And if you have something you want to share, I'll show it on screen and I'll read it off, and I'll try to answer questions if you have them. So let's hop back here. So where was I? So we were here. Oh man, now the chat's really flowing in, or notifications. I'm gonna hop here. I do apologize if I skipped over someone. If I do throw it back in. Riderhood Jeff. Yeah, there we go. Tim loves my name. Yeah. I'm like, Riderhood Jeff. Is any relation to Redshirt Jeff. I'm just asking. I gotta ask. Cyber Knight, weekend goals: rebuild 2 Proxmox servers with a clean install of Proxmox 8. Introduce one of the new Dell servers into the cluster and remove the oddball server. Hey, I'm living that same that same dream right now. Just shuffling every day. I'm shuffling servers, I feel like. But that is awesome. So rebuild 2 Proxmox server, clean install Proxmox 8, introduce one of them, one of the new Dell servers. Cool. Yeah, that is awesome. This weekend I also learned, or this past week I also learned how to adjust Quorum too. So if you run into this where you can't, if you add a server and then shut down that server, but you can't remove that server because CoroSync says you don't have Quorum for your cluster, you can adjust the maximum amount of nodes you need for Quorum, which is pretty cool. So I didn't know that. I've never had to do it, but I did exactly what you did. I added a 4th node, so I have an even number of nodes in my cluster while I migrated stuff. That was great until I shut down the old one, and now it says, hey, you don't have Quorum. So there's a PVE command you could use to adjust Quorum, and if you shut it down and you have 4 nodes, and it won't let you establish Quorum or make any changes to your cluster, run the command to say, hey, you only need 3 for Quorum. It'll ignore 1, then you can delete the old nodes. I learned all about how to manage Quorum too manually, which typically you don't have to do if you have an odd number of machines and you're more than 1 and have an odd number of machines. You're usually good unless 2 go down or 3 go down or whatever. Well, 3 would be totally offline. Anyways, you might run into that, and if you do, it's a little bit scary at first, but you can manually adjust it while you're doing stuff. So I had to set my Quorum to my node votes minutes. I should look up the command, but there's some command you run and it'll tell CoroSync the minimum amount of nodes you need to have Quorum. So I adjusted. I'm like 5. Okay, now shut 1 down, bring 1 up. Shut another one down. Okay, now it's 4, now it's 3 as I bring up new machines and bring others down so I can do the migration to deprecate or, deprecate old machines. So yeah, sounds like fun. Sounds like a lot of what I've been doing. I've been learning so much more about Proxmox this last 2 weeks doing a lot of this stuff. It's stuff that I just haven't had to deal with, and now I am, and it's actually pretty fun. Let's see. 3 Pork Chop Express. Hello, everyone. In Techno Tim, I'm working on getting Pterodactyl running. My son wants a Minecraft server. Yeah, I like where this is going. Does the panel and wings composed need to be on different servers? I thought in your tutorial they were on the same, but I always hear separate servers mentioned. Also trying to implement via Cloudflare tunnels, not Nginx or similar. Still trying to understand how to do that. So Pterodactyl, for those that don't know, it's a panel to run game servers. And so and I'm touching on why you probably want 2 servers. I would argue for 2 servers because the panel typically should run on 1 machine, and then that's your console to see all of your agents or your nodes. I'm going to call them agents, which I think they call wings. They have their own terminology for it, but I'm going to use, I guess, standard IT terminology. You have a panel that is your quote-unquote server, and then you have agents, which are just nodes that communicate with that panel. And so I would separate them out. I totally would, because then you can have n number of agents or nodes that communicate with the panel, and then from the panel, you can configure different game servers to run on those nodes. I mean, unless you're running a ton of stuff, most likely you're going to have your panel running and then your agent or your node running somewhere else. So so that should be fine. And that agent or that node will check in with the panel and say, hey, do you have new stuff for me? All that good stuff. So that should work fine. If you're doing it through Docker, there's a few quirks, and I talk about that in the video and even the documentation on different ports you have to open up. But I would recommend, if you had the hardware, to run them separate. Because then that means you could keep your panel up, you could tear down your nodes, you could add more nodes, you could do everything you want to it and not have to tweak the panel ever again. You could even shut down all nodes and say, you know what? I'm not running any game servers. I'm going to shut down all of those nodes, those agents that connect to the panel. I'll keep the panel in case I want to go back. I would highly recommend separating it out. there are lots of people say, hey, I have a single Docker host. I have a single Docker host. I only have one host. I want to run everything on here. And it can be done too. There's no problem doing it that way. It just makes it a little more complex because now you have, your multiple containers running on that machine. You have to expose lots of ports. This is my visual diagram of containers and ports. And they have to communicate with each other on local hosts. So you got to do a lot more in Docker networking. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, so hopefully that helps to understand. Separate them if you can. I would say always separate them unless you have an exception to where you can't and you run a single node and you have one server, then that complexity you've accepted by having one node, and then you have to do it that way. So hopefully that helps. Power Poofoo. Powerpuff. I don't know where I got Poofoo from. Powerpuff Mao. Hey, Techno Tim, greetings from Germany. DE, all right. I'm stoked for your stream today. It's my first time tuning in live, but I'm a regular on your YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you have in store for tonight. Get ready for some fun. All right, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, greetings from Germany. Wie geht's? Wie geht's heute? I know very little German. I took German in middle school for a quarter, so I know wie geht's, viel Glück, wie ist das Wetter, and lista listo. And that lista listo is still one I say to this day because my wife makes fun of me when I tell her to read the list. I say it in German. I don't know why. But lista listo. But hey, wie geht's heute? Hope you're doing okay. Thanks for tuning in. Yakto, hey, how's it going? Wow, lots of follows. I appreciate it. Let me come out real quick. Lick my cat tier. I'm going to go with that. Lick my cat tier. Soy Pete, Neurosite, Pico Plus, High Health, something in Hex Value, and or F Stream. Thank you guys so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Yakto, hey, how's it going, man? Got a stack of a dozen switches I'm trying to get configured and set for deployment. And this dozen switches is probably in your garage. No joke. No joke. If you don't know Yakto, he runs YWS, Yakto Web Services, in his garage. That is awesome, man. I like not knowing exactly what you're doing because that lets me speculate a lot more, but I do want to know what you got going on in there. I know, it's going to be a ton of OpenStack stuff, but I do want to know, but I don't at the same time because it's more fun to speculate. But man, dozen switches. Hopefully you're using some kind of centralized management to deploy those changes out. If not, hopefully you've scripted the whole thing. And knowing you, it's probably both. Skilty, evening, Sunday task rebuild server and install Proxmox for the first time. Awesome. So Sunday task is to rebuild a server and install Proxmox for the first time. Awesome. I think you'll be happy depending on where you're coming from. If you're coming from ESXi, you might be happy. If you're coming from another hypervisor, I think you'll be happy. If you're coming from no hypervisor at all, I think you'll still be happy. I think you'll be happy either way. It's a good hypervisor. It's open source. It's built on Debian Linux. There's a great web console for it. It has a lot of enterprise features if you want them there. And if you don't, it's totally fine too. Runs on KVM. Pretty efficient. I love it. I'm a huge fan. And the more I work on it and the more I discover little features like I did this week with KSM and revisiting memory ballooning, I'm loving it even more. I do wish there's one thing it's not Proxmox's fault, or I should say KVM's fault. It's Intel's fault, but I'm having troubles. I think the world is having troubles getting the iGPU pass-through to work on Intel NUC 11s. And only on Windows. So I 100% think it's an Intel driver for Windows thing, but I won't get into it because I'll start getting frustrated again. But yeah, so man, we have a ton of people who know Proxmox in our Discord server. Just gonna plug it there. If you have problems, yeah, definitely join. We have a channel dedicated for hypervisors that a lot of people talk about Proxmox in there. Not only Proxmox, but a lot of Proxmox talk in there. But yeah, DGD, this is where I got back to. So I followed your K3S tutorial a while ago, but I still haven't migrated, just played with it a little. have you any thought of making a follow-up video regarding disaster recovery in Kubernetes? Right now, Kubernetes is is this magic black box to me, which is lovely as long as it's work, but very scary if something were to break. Yeah, that's yeah, good point. Yeah, maybe I could at some point. I know there are some tools that I use for DR. Like I have different pieces of my cluster backed up and backed by DR, so I can fully recover them. But yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should. It is tough. I'd say like if you got it running and working, that's awesome. That's a huge first step. I would say try to break something and try to try to break something, controlled break something, and see if you can fix it. Because for me, it's like, a lot of the times I get into these situations with either fixing it or upgrading it or something that I wouldn't run into in a normal scenario. So most of the time, I'm learning as I go. I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a Kubernetes expert. Like I get it, how it works, and I don't know. I hate calling myself an expert in anything, but most of the time I'm just learning as I go, just like you are. So, but yeah, that's a good point. I do have something in my backlog about utilities you can use to DR a full Kubernetes cluster. Maybe I should bring that up a little bit more. Hey, Shern. Hey, Shern. Thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, Shern. Hey, Shern. Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate the support. Lesser Train. I'm using GitHub Actions, and I've created a monstrosity to deploy our mobile applications, API, and microservices. Hey, that's easy to do. Cool that you're using CI and CD to do it, though. I think you're in the right direction. I did use caching on the Docker images, and it ate up 83 days of minutes and a few relatively consistent deploys, new features, hot fixes, etc. I've tried to implement caching and save caching to GitHub storage. I'm using BuildX, so I have multi-arch. Awesome. I want to make sure that I have it set up correctly. Any good practices? I'll probably throw this in Discord, to be honest. Hey, Lesser Train. Yeah, so I do the same thing. So I have a lot of GitHub Actions. How do I put this? So if you look at, I have this thing called Little Link Server. Not important, the actual thing that I'm building, but I do exactly that. So I have GitHub Actions that build and deploy this to GitHub and Docker Hub's Docker registry on every single build. So you can look at my actions. You could copy those. I mean, the thing's open source, has 1,000 or so stars, and a lot of people have helped me with it. And it's been picked over and improved by a lot of people. So I wouldn't say like best practices are in there, but a lot of eyes have looked at it too. And plus, I laid down the architecture that I thought was best, and we've improved it over time. So I would say, like, if you're hosting code and you need to build a container and you're doing it with GitHub Actions, I would say look at that because I have that pretty fine-tuned. And so it on every pull request, it's building. On every pull request, it's running my CI, my continuous integration. It's running unit tests and checking to make sure that the last pull request isn't going to break it once I merge in. And then on a merge, it builds and deploys it out to, Docker Hub and GitHub's container registry. So I have all that. Yeah, you have it. Have it. If you need help finding it, ping me. But just Google GitHub Techno Tim Little Link server, I think, and you'll find it. If not, it's on my GitHub profile. I think I have it pinned there too. But lots of ideas in there that you could probably use. I think I do cache a lot of stuff. Maybe not. maybe not. I know why you would want to cache stuff, especially layers and stuff like that. Here internally, I do cache, my modules. I cache. So I also run CI privately too in my own environment. And I do cache modules to S3 or my internal Minio, and I cache Docker layers too, just to not only speed things up, but just to make sure I'm not hitting Docker for things I don't need to hit it for. So let me know though. Let me know. I'm happy to look at that with you, or give you some advice. But yeah, take a look too at my stuff. Powerpuff Meow. Meow. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hey, Techno Tim, I noticed the Japanese flag in your info box. Does that mean you speak Japanese? Hi. Nihongo hasemasu. Hasemasu? Yeah, hasema. I can speak Japanese. Yeah. My grandmother's Japanese, and yeah, I took Japanese for a long time, and I think I can speak it kind of okay. Kind of okay. I studied in college. I actually majored in Japanese in college too. But yeah, I can speak it. I can understand more than I can speak. I mean, that's just part of the deal with learning any new language. You usually hear more, and so you can understand more. At least for me personally, it was harder to speak back. But yeah, absolutely, I can. Nihongo hasemasu. Hasemasu? Yeah, can speak. But yeah. I should do a stream partially in Japanese. It would be a short stream. Penetrator. Hello from the UK. Let's see. Net out. Brian. Hype fail. Hype fail. Hype train. New Friday streams sometimes are awesome for us Germans in the EU in general. I agree. Because it's not late on your Saturday night. It's on your earlier Friday evening. So yeah, I agree. I've been shifting around the time. And trying to see what works for most people. So I'm glad that it's working for more people. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but I think if I paint a broad stroke, this time works for more people, even though it's Friday. Penetrator, loving my new Ceph cluster on Proxmox. That is awesome. I need to test some more with Ceph. I do for sure, because Ceph is this thing, and as we were talking about black boxes earlier, kind of a black box to me. I get it, I understand how it works, but I've never done it, and so until I kind of pry that black box open, I'm going to call it a black box. So, but yeah, Ceph, I'd love to learn more. I think I'm going to learn more over the next month or so we'll see. Goffs, just finished getting my Docker Compose files across a few systems, synced with GitHub, along with handy installation scripts. Awesome. So Docker Compose files, getting them synchronized across systems with GitHub, along with some handy installation scripts. That is awesome. So you're basically building your own CD system, right? Your own CD system. Like, hey, I make a change to this Docker Compose. Maybe I push it up to Git, and from there, maybe all of your agents or all of your servers are pulling down the latest repo all the time. And then if they see a change, auto-applying that change to the Docker Compose file. I'm making this up, but that's how I think it would work. Either that or you're synchronizing across machines, and so they don't reach out to GitHub. But either way, awesome. That is awesome. You'll have to let me know how you got this going, because I'm always curious about this piece about getting Docker, especially Docker, in sync across multiple machines without Swarm, without Swarm. That's what it sounds like. The glass is half full. Nice. Yeah, all right. I'm a glass half full person too. I got to get this one. I got to at least try it once. ADHD artisanic tink. Sorry. Loving that and catching you on Friday streams while at work. I got it. I want to say just ADHD alone, but I don't, because maybe that's pronounced. Maybe it's not an acronym, but let me know how to pronounce it. But I'm glad you're catching it at work. I will. Your work cannot bill me. Charge this to your continuing education budget. Let me know what your cost center is. I'll charge it to them. Let's see. Same here. Oh yeah, you guys are at work. All right. I'm at work too. This is my work now, kind of, sort of, but it doesn't feel like work. It's awesome. Allswing, have you ever looked at Rookceph for storage in your lab? I have in the beginning. I did look at Rookceph. That was a contender for my Kate's storage class, and I settled on Longhorn a while ago, and I haven't looked back. And it's mostly good. I mean, as a whole, like, Longhorn has been super awesome. It's another thing, like, the more I use it, and the more I break things, and the more I count on it, the more I love it. And so, yes, I did run into a few quirks with their upgrade. I think part of their upgrade was broken for some people, going from like 1.4 to 1.5. since I had to go, and I had to learn how to do DR and how to disaster recovery and totally tear down, just basically remove all of Longhorn and then reinstall Longhorn and then restore all of my persistent volumes. And by doing that, I mean, yes, it sucked that happened. I lost about a half a day between trying to force the upgrade to work and, I had to eat dinner and stuff, and then trying to fix everything. Like, some of my websites were down for a half a day, which sucked. I'm going to be frank. But at the same time, it taught me how to do DR, which was good. And it taught me how to totally remove my PVC or my storage class of Longhorn, reinstall it, and restore stuff from Minio, and then reattach all of those volumes back to my pods in Kubernetes. Anyway, that was a lot of Kubernetes speak, but the more I use it, the more I love it. And so I did look at Rook early on. I knew it was based on Ceph, so I had, in the beginning when I was learning, I was like, hey, I can do Longhorn that does block storage. I understand block storage. I understand that it's going to use unused space on my nodes. I kind of I understand that. And this is probably my excuse, but when I started looking at Rook, I didn't understand Ceph, and I didn't have Ceph to even use it, so I kind of felt like, it was a lot to take on at once. But I should. A lot of people are talking about Ceph, and I think it's getting super popular for sure. Let's see. Yakto always loves someone. Yeah, speaking of Ceph, I totally agree. Powerpuff, today, like in the past few weekends, I found myself grappling with a technical challenge. I was determined to pass through integrated GPU to a Windows virtual machine on all of the X470 motherboards with a Ryzen 7 5700G. Despite the difficulties, I persisted, hopefully to finally get everything up and running. It's been a demanding task, but I'm committed to seeing it through. That is awesome, Powerpuff. That is awesome. That was kind of me a couple days ago with this iGPU, until I realized, everyone on the internet, every road led to it's not possible, it's a problem with Intel, and you should give up and tell Intel to fix their stuff. So anyways, I'm there with you. I've been there. Keep on keeping on, and you'll get it. If it's possible, you'll do it. I believe it, because it all starts with a positive attitude like that. Tomb Raid. All right, let's go. Hello, all at 4Stream. How's it going? All right, let's see. That was about the raid. Egger Manson. Got a cheap used mini PC and set up my very first Proxmox server. Still messing around and figuring out what everything else is and how it works. That is awesome. That is exactly one of my tips for starting your own home lab, is to get an old used machine and figure out what you want to do and if you want to do it. And then from there, you can decide what your hardware requirements are and what your software requirements are, or what they determine your hardware requirements are in the future. So yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. Yeah, I think that getting Proxmox on a machine early in your home lab journey is fun, or getting a hypervisor, I should say. Getting it on a machine early is fun, because then you can try so many different things, and you don't have to rebuild your own machine all the time. You rebuild virtual machines. Awesome. I love it. Ooh, Quorum. I know. Such a fun thing. I hear you. I know. As soon as you raid, I'm like, Quorum. That's like snooze fest. Snooze fest. Hopefully not. Houskins. I've been exploring Nix the past few months. Now I'm in the process of replacing most of my VMs. Hey, that is cool. Yeah, Nix in general. So I assume you mean just, Linux Nix type machines. Yeah, awesome. Let me know how it goes. Or you probably mean Nix. But yeah, awesome. Let me know how it goes for sure. Let's see. Tropical Kings working on Karios. I don't even know what Karios is. Oh, NixOS. Thank you. Yeah, I keep looking into NixOS, and I'm like, is this something I should look at? Yeah. You can run Nix without NixOS. Oh, all right. This is nice to know too. I keep looking into it, and I see it on Twitter talked about, and on Mastodon too. And I'm like, should I know more about this? I think I should. Note to self. Sorry, I'm taking a note because if I don't take a note, I won't remember to put it in my backlog. Let's see. Tropical Kings working on Carios. I'm going with Carios. Carios P2P Edge Cluster K3s nodes supposedly self-negotiate roles. Hey, that is wild. Hey, thanks for the follow. Demon, thanks for the follow. Fendering, thanks for the follow too. I appreciate it. So working on Carios P2P Edge Cluster K3s nodes supposedly self-negotiate roles. So I'm trying to think about this. So this is basically putting K3s nodes on the edge, and then joining. So a P2P edge cluster. So it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like what some people want to do is they basically want to have nodes running in different zones. So physical locations or even the same location, but on the edge, and have them auto join a cluster and self-negotiate roles. I got to look into this too, because this is sounding pretty cool. Because that's there are so many ways to get nodes to communicate to each other across zones, and maybe this is yet another tool in the toolbox to do that. So I got to check it out. Have you ever all that for stream? Have you ever seen the Raft website on Quorum? Just curious. I haven't. No, I got to check it out for sure. What's up, Techno Tim? How's it going? I love that. I would love one of those for my stream. Maybe the lights. I don't know. The buttons. Gotta keep them separated. You do. OpenStack. Oh yeah. This is Yocto. Are you doing OpenStack private? I think he is. Pizza Geek. Actually, yeah. I got an invite to it a while ago when I logged into it. It was pretty awesome. Pizza Geek, I picked up some 800 gig Samsung 845 SSDs from eBay. Awesome, 800 gig to replace my spinners in my main Proxmox server. I think I want to use hardware RAID to keep the overhead off the OS as opposed to ZFS. Just not sure what the right RAID level is to get a good balance between capacity and safety. I have regular backups of my VMs. How many did you get? I think that's a key piece. That's a key piece. It depends on the number, right? And you know this. It just depends. Five. Yeah, that's a tough number. Five's a tough number. Yeah, five's a tough number for a hardware RAID. Because I would say if it were four, I'd say go RAID 10, 1 plus 0, and then keep one as a spare. I mean, you could still do that. Doesn't even have to be a hot spare, cold spare. But if not, five, and you want to, it's. I don't know. I'm a RAID 10 person. I would say that. I usually go that way because I get performance on read and write and parity. And so yes, I lose half of my storage, but still I get all the other benefits. So that's how I usually go. Even in ZFS too. So but I mean, you could keep that one as a spare, and then you have a spare. So if one dies, that's not fun, I know, but hardware RAID's tough. Yeah, it makes you cry less. I agree. It does make you cry less. And I don't know. I've always gone with RAID 10 even numbers. For a while I had 6 SSDs, and I did a RAID 10 across all 6. And I should say one. I don't know. Every time I say RAID 10, people are like, there's no such thing as RAID 10. I'm like, okay, it's 1 plus 0, but I'm going to say 10, so I don't have to say 1 plus 0 all the time. But my 2 unused servers right now only have 4 drives. They're all SSDs, and those are also RAID 10. So that's what I tend to go with. Even when I had hardware RAID, I did that too, because I want read, write, performance plus parity, and then basically two mirrored stripes. I think that's what it is. Pico Plus, nice to find you here. Just found out about Techno Tim today. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Twisted Grim, you gotta do Kubernetes the hardware. No, I don't. I think anyway you do Kubernetes the hardware, but I know what you're talking about. Basically building it from source and creating it all yourself. That is beyond me. I considered doing it just for fun at one point, but doing something the hard way doesn't always sound like fun, but maybe I should. Pika Plus, you know too much to want to be dubbed as an expert. Seen some shite. Yeah, shite. That's true. That is true. You don't want to be the expert. People start asking for stuff. No, I'm kidding. Hey, Sherm. So I bought five. I need to get my glasses checked. Bought 5 Lenovo's M93 tiny PCs with 16 gigs of RAM and 5 12 gig SSDs, and I'm going to set up a K3S cluster on them. Yes, that is awesome. 5. 5 is a good number. 5 is a good number. You have a lot you can do. So going back to Quorum and stuff like that. So 5's a good number. With 5, it depends. It depends. So if I had 5 machines, how would I set it up? Honestly, what I would probably do, this is just a home lab, right? I would probably set up all 5 and give all 5 all roles. And so that will give you, 5 Kubernetes API servers, 5 copies of etcd or state in general, and then you can run workloads on any. If not, what you're probably going to have to do is 3, control plane and API nodes, and then or control plane and etcd, your database, and then 2 workers. It's totally up to you, but I love figuring that stuff out. I'm kind of now at the point where hardware is getting good enough. If you have enough RAM, you have low latency network, and you're running solid states across the way, like, you can get by running etcd and control plane on everything, and then run your workloads there too. But it all depends on your workload. So this is with the caveat that, like, you don't have some super challenge or super demanding IOPS on those SSDs for some of your workloads. But that could be as simple as just pulling down a Docker container that's 2 gigabytes and extracting it, right? So not only the workloads that are running, but also, that whole like extraction process, pulling down an extraction and writing process, that takes some stuff too. But yeah, it'd be fun to experiment. You'll have to let me know how it goes. You had asked what I'm working on, so that's what I'm working on. Yeah, I like it. You got me thinking about, just Kubernetes in general and self-hosting it, because ton of fun. But yeah, you have a lot of options there. If you want to go the safe way, go 3 server nodes that run control plane and etcd, and then 2 workers. And then you're pretty much safe. So you can lose one control plane and control plane and etcd node, and you'll still be up. On the other side, it just depends. It just depends. You'll have to figure that out too, depending on your services. But, if you have 2 copies or 2 replicas and you split them up by machine and one goes down, your load balancer should kick in. And so you could still keep some services up as long as you don't lose both worker nodes, which might be obvious. May or may not be obvious. I don't know. At 5 for home lab, I would split them all up and have everything do everything, because you just get more availability. It's a cool place to be in when you have 5. And then your RAM. You have 16 gigs RAM, which is totally plenty, but then you just get more RAM to spread out across all of your worker nodes. So, hey Pico, yeah, how's it going? Twisted Grim. Oh, I'm reading out notifications. This is why I need back on my other chat. So let's see. Swiss Techno Tom. How's it going, Swiss Techno Tom? Hi, Tim. Great to see you. What do you think about using passkeys instead of logging passwords everywhere? Thank you for your opinion. I don't know. I don't have an opinion. Right now I'm password and 2-factor auth or multi-factor auth everywhere. I think I have last I checked in my MFA, I have 122 or 126 accounts, a lot of them. So I every time I set up an account, I set up MFA, and every time I set up account, the second thing I do besides dark mode is go into security settings and see if they have MFA. And if they do, I turn it on. That's just part of setting up every account now. I do it. As soon as I get that verification email, click that, go in there, turn on dark mode. Second stop is turn on MFA, because it's like, hey, why not? And I don't want any dummy account, even an account that I think I'll never use again. I still set it up because I don't want to have to worry about, hey, someone getting into that account and then impersonating me or doing whatever they could do to say, like, act like they're me for something and whatever. Anyways, So I don't have a ton of, I don't have a ton of experience using passkeys instead. I'll just say that. Personally, I just started using them on Mac, which is great, which integrates Touch ID, and it's the chef's kiss. Log into GitHub with your finger. Oh yeah, I like it. I like it. I mean, I do have biometrics. I do have, I have face recognition and fingerprint on my MacBook. So yeah, I guess that could work. That could work. I'm just, yeah, I want to make sure that, I don't know. Maybe this is short-sighted, but I wanna use something that's supported almost everywhere, I should say. I guess for more secure stuff like GitHub, yeah, absolutely. Maybe I should switch. Yeah, this is good to think about. I'll have to writing it down to do some more research. Because that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of people ask, if I use YubiKey or something like that, and while it's a great solution, a very secure solution, it's just hard for me to switch everything over. And so kind of living in a hybrid mode is harder, I think, for me than living in the same mode. I'm making up excuses. But I should look into it. I should look into it. I just would love a wider adoption of these technologies. And I think a lot of these technologies are still in flux too. Some that we're seeing now might not be around, in a year or two. Someone's going to keep leapfrogging. While I know MFA isn't the greatest, it's stood the test of time so far, and it's worked out well for me. So anyways, long story short, I have 126 accounts. So it's got to be something that works with 90% of that stuff. Because I don't want to have to start thinking like, oh, is it this? Or, oh, is it this? It's like, no, I had two-factor auth. Multi-factor is here. This is how I get it. And it works the same. So, strong password in a password manager backed by 2FA. That's my current security model. And obviously, SSH, I have SSH keys for some things, and that's a different security model too. But which is, another thing I have to manage too. I wish I could manage it better. But I have that down as well. But anyway, no, these are good things to think about. Lester Train would love to DM you on Discord to understand your use case for a bit more. Yeah, I work at GitHub on the mobile app. Hey, all right. GitHub mobile app is pretty awesome. I use it all the time. I love to be able to run my CI stuff again from GitHub when it fails. So, let's see. So Iron Hamilton. All right, GitHub. We're at GitHub employee. I like it. I have some ideas for the GitHub app. ADHD. I'm going with ADHD. Oh, I got to get this again. ADHD art centram terrain dementing. I'm sorry. I've always wanted to learn Japanese. Hey, yeah, it's fun. I'd say it's fun. It's fun. I would say that I'm not going to say it's easy, but I would say it's easier than a lot of other languages because it's a phonetic language. So anytime you see something, as long as you know the rules, which are very few, you can pronounce that thing. In the English language, it's not like that at all. In Mandarin, it's not like that at all. Mandarin's very tonal. English is too. English has a ton of exceptions. Just think of like explaining how to spell science to someone. Yeah, not going to figure that out. Or how to say the word science. Not going to explain that one easily. Or even explaining like conjugation for like verbs like go, went, gone. That is very different and very difficult for, I think, people who speak other languages who don't have conjugation that works that way. Probably why you see kids say goed, or people who speak English as a second language, they'll say goed because they're applying, the past tense rules that they think to go and applying it to go, and they'll say goed, and it's like, no, I went. So anyways, Japanese is a lot easier because it conjugates a lot easier. You can guess the rules are almost always the same, and they speak things phonetically, and it's spoken with a specific rhythm. There are a few things. There are obviously a few exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, if you see it, you can say it. I know in the English language we say Toyota, but in Japanese it's pronounced Toyota, and same with Honda, we say Honda and it's Honda. But anyways, if you understand the rules and you understand that Japanese is a phonetic language, then you can start to speak it fairly easily. Reading it is a different thing. Get ready for 3 alphabets. I don't even want to say alphabets, but pretty much three sets of characters. Katakana, hiragana, and kanji. And I got my katakana, I got my hiragana, but my kanji is I probably only remember a couple hundred. And it takes a couple thousand to read the newspaper. Anyways, yeah, it's fun. It's part of my heritage too. My grandmother's Japanese. My dad was born in Japan, came here to the U.S. When he was like 5 or 6. So yeah, I've always enjoyed it. Tropical Kings, have you set up Intel AMT so you can lower level manage them? Yeah, good question. I wanted to. I wanted to. I absolutely wanted to. And when I bought my Intel NUC cluster, my 3 Intel NUCs 11, I thought I was getting Intel AMT. Turns out I didn't buy the version with vPro, which I think vPro is the suite of services and BIOS and stuff that runs on the machine, so I can manage them that way. And so I made the bonehead mistake of thinking that my Intel NUC Pro kit contained vPro technology from Intel. Yeah, duh. I mean, you gotta love technologies in their marketing and all their wisdom. So, anyways, I would love to. That was my plan for my Intel NUCs, and that's what I was gonna do. I was like, sweet, I can use AMT to manage these. I can get into the BIOS. Basically, I can have IPMI if I want, kind of, sorta, and get into the BIOS and manage these. And that didn't work out because I didn't buy the right ones. But I'm actually glad that didn't work out because that's how I learned more about PyKVM, and that's when I started to get into PyKVM. So it's while I would love to do some AMT stuff or use the Intel vPro, I think it is, platform. At the same time, it led me down a path to discover PyKVM and use PyKVM now to manage those Intel NUCs. And so I'm a big fan of PyKVM. I actually have the PyKVM 4, 2 of them, mini and the Pro sitting right there. I just haven't even been able to get to do a full walkthrough and comparison and even see if they work with my TE Smart 8-port KVM switch. So anyways, long story short, yeah, I would love to use vPro. I bought the wrong thing. Now I can't. I wish Intel would have just put them on anything with any of their i-series. Just consider any of your i-series pretty much Pro. I know that costs more money, or maybe it's just on the i7. I don't know. I'm sure it costs more money, especially costs the money for engineering. I don't know about hardware, but yeah, I bonehead mistake, and I didn't buy the one with it. I wish I could have though. So anyways, long story short, I haven't, and I wanted to use. There's an open source piece of software that you could use to manage it too that I wanted to use, but I couldn't use. And that's when I realized I didn't have AMT at all. So anyways, long story short, I wish I could, but I don't have it. Penetrator. Hey, Tim, did you know you can force Proxmox VM migration to use a separate network? Great for traffic management. Hey, this is one of the things I've been struggling with too on Proxmox. Maybe this will apply to backups too. Well, a little bit different now. But when I had my 1U servers, I have a pair of 1 gig NICs that are lagged. So they're combined. They're aggregated. And then I have a 10 gig NIC that's in there. And my thought was like, hey, I'll just use the 10 gig for network stuff. Well, for backups, really. I wanted to allocate that to backups. And yeah, I hadn't figured it all out. But what I found was kind of stunk is that Proxmox, at least in the past, whatever IP you stand it up on, that's the IP it wants to use for backups for everything. And I'm like, kind of stinks because that's my management IP. Like I don't want to saturate my management IP. I don't want to saturate my management IP with network transfers for backups. So I saw a lot of tips online about like, well, you just create a local network or do point-to-point, do all this stuff. I was like, I'm not really interested in that. So I ended up, if you separate IP space for them, the target the backup server on a separate subnet. Okay. And it is. I see. I see. I see. And then you assign an IP from that subnet. Okay, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah. Direct connect is another way too. I thought about that, but I don't know. Yeah, static IPs. I see what you mean now. If my target for my backups, which would be my NAS, is on a different subnet, then I just assign an IP to my 10 gig NIC that's on the same subnet, and then that will just basically force it to say like, well, the other IP obviously can't talk to that subnet. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. And so it will have to go through there. But yeah, I'll have to look again. Once I get my 1U servers back up, I think I'm going to redo some of it. So what I ended up doing was just basically on my 10 gig, I created a bridge and basically said, hey, all machines are going to use this for your communication, but then backups are still going over 1 gig. I don't know. I wish there was just an easy way to just say, hey, when you run a backup job, use this. Hey, for management, use this. Just like you can for when you assign a bridge or a network adapter to a virtual machine. I wish you could do that same kind of assignment in Proxmox to make it a little bit, I don't know, a little more user friendly. But yeah, these are all good ideas that I'll have to look into when I go back to my 1U servers for my stuff. If I even do, I know there's going to be a point where it's like, yep, can't do that. Let's migrate back. So far they've been shut down for, I want to say 2 weeks now. I should have kept a timer. So 2 weeks. I've been saving 200 watts of power for 2 weeks by running all of my workloads that were on my 1U servers on Intel NUCs, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. Penetrator, that was awesome. When I thought about clustering for about 30 seconds, I was going to use 10 gig. Yeah, direct link between servers for clustering the network adapters together. Yeah. I think we're talking about the same thing for sure. Oh, I like it. Okay, here we go. ADHD Arts Entertainment Inc. Thank you. Well, at least I wasn't wrong on the ADHD Arts and Entertainment. Thank you. And I think I saw in chat you may have, yes, Pascal case. Thank you so much. Thanks for putting the Pascal case. Even if you do camel case, any kind of case, snake case, I don't care what kind of casing it is. If you're a programmer, use any kind of casing, except for all 2 lower. Don't use the 2 lower, because then it's like, oh, I mean, unless it's short, I can figure it out. But Leet speak, I'm all for it. But yeah, thank you. So ADHD, Arts and Entertainment. Thank you guys. Thanks for the help on that one, because I was like, ooh, that one's tough. Formerly SME Productions. Okay, there we go. Now I'm getting it. Let's see. All right, you guys, we are getting close to time, but let's read a couple more. ADHD, Arts and Entertainment. I got it. Picked up a free Pro Lion a few weeks back to throw Proxmox on my production, for my production company. That is awesome. So, free Pro Lion, throwing Proxmox on it for your production company. Awesome. You'll have to let me know how it goes. I'm curious what you're going to run on there. Is it going to be, specific workloads to do specific things like, I don't know, rendering stuff. I don't know what kind of production, if it's video or audio or both. Let me know, because that sounds pretty interesting, what you're going to run on there. Because I'm always curious what people, there's getting the hardware, there's putting the system on it. But I'm always really curious, like, okay, what's the value you're going to be creating, at least to yourself. It doesn't have to be a value to me, but why are you doing it? I love to know the why too. The what, don't get me wrong, the what is awesome, but I think the why is just as awesome too, because I'm curious. All right, I'm gonna look at some of these first-time chats because they are first-time chats, and hopefully I can find them in my second window. It's from the Skull Crusher for Life, I think it is. I didn't even preview this one. So Skull Crusher for Life. Any caveats or gotchas for setting up a home lab using older Lenovo HP Dell? I've always enjoyed Dell's access to drivers supports without a support contract. Do Lenovo HP have the same availability for drivers without support contracts? Any issues using all 3 manual at once in a home lab? So let me think. I can't speak for Dell or HP, or I guess Lenovo servers either. I don't know if you can access their drivers. I think you can. I don't know if you need a support contract. I've overheard people talking in our Discord saying, like, you do need one for HP. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. I don't know for Lenovo. I know when I used to do Lenovo server stuff way back in the day, in IBM server stuff, there was no support contract. They were all posted publicly. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if there's a paywall or anything. Penetrator saying yes, free to HP drivers. All right. So we got a confirmation on HP. What about Dell? So Dell, I think you do. Dell was free. Dell was free. Oh, I don't know about Lenovo. HP is not free. Yes, to Dell. Yeah. I thought Dell was free because I had a Dell R710 and I was able to go out there and get all the firmware and get all the BIOS and flash it myself. So I know that one's free. Yeah, Dell's definitely free. Dells are free. Yeah, free Dell. HP is behind a license most of the time. That's what I thought. That's what I heard in Discord, that people were saying, like, hey, you have to be part of this program to be able to download drivers. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, HP Consumer is open for sure. So yeah, I guess it boils down to the type of device that you have. You know, if it's consumer, yeah, it's gonna be free and open because, like, they're not gonna charge their customers for it. But if it's an enterprise server, that's a little bit different. So yeah, Lenovo, I don't know. We should just go out there and check real quick and settle the score. Lenovo server drivers. This is just me Googling, and so this is I'm not a lawyer, nor am I an expert at support contracts. Now I'm like getting ads and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. It used to be open for me, and I will say that was a long time ago. When in doubt, before buying, look to see if you can download firmware. I think that's a good point. That's a good point because I rarely do that. I rarely do that with anything in my life, and I think that's good. That's good research to do ahead of time. But to answer your question, Skull Crusher for life, I think we've said that if it's enterprise HP, I think it is behind some kind of support contract or paywall, if you will. Dell, I think, is open. I know it's open because I did it for my Dell servers, my R710. I was able to download firmware drivers, all of that stuff. Lenovo's still out, and so I don't know. We'll have to look. But consumer stuff is all open as well too. But yeah, so hey, and if you have more questions, you should totally jump in Discord. I know there are so many people. Manuf is manufacturers. Was wondering if there was a weird have 3 different manufacturers in the same cluster. I like it. Short for manufacturers. All right, Manuf. I'm gonna say it though. I'm gonna say it that way, Manuf, so people don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, if you have more questions, you should totally jump in our Discord. We have a Discord server, almost 9,000 people in there now, full of people who are in this stream, not in this stream, experts in all walks of life, I will say. Very smarter than me in a lot of different topics. So it's a great bunch of people that know a lot of stuff and are very helpful. We have topics and channels for almost anything you could think of, even a food channel that usually has weird food in there that I enjoy looking at. So anyways, if you want to join, you should totally join. It's PC Geek, thank you. It's ! Discord here, or it's my short link, or it's just Google Techno Tim Discord. If you can't find it, if you can't remember how to get there, do that, or click somewhere that says Techno Tim's Discord. I'd love for you to join. I will be back next Friday, so I'm doing the Friday thing. I will be back next Friday here on Twitch, and I should have something between the 3 things that I'm working on. Whatever I finish first, I will have out to you. So I look for that. So anyways, have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and be good to each other. I'll see you in Discord. Be good to each other. Take care, folks.